In this episode of Human Resource Development course, we are going to focus on how human capacity can be developed. The essence of management of any organization is to utilize effectively all the available human and physical resources, financial and technological resources. Human resource development is concerned with development of human capacity basically. Human capacity or human potential includes aptitude, knowledge, values, skills of HR, responsiveness, loyalty and commitment, transparency and leadership development. So now what is meant by aptitude? Aptitude refers to the potential for learning or acquiring a specific skill. It differs from achievement. Achievement actually refers to previous learning. It also differs from intelligence, which refers to a person's general potential to find solutions to problems, think ideally, adapt to changing situations and gain from experience. The distinction between these three concepts is very thin because they are very closely interrelated. At work, employees should have aptitude for learning which is beneficial to him or her and the organization. All the three concepts of aptitude, achievement and intelligence are grouped as human ability. Aptitude of persons can be tested to evaluate individual differences. The aptitude test measures potential for acquisition of a specific skill. Through aptitude, employees' potential for learning can be evaluated. Through aptitude test, evaluation of wide range of experiences obtained by the employees also can be made. The aptitude test is basically used to judge or predict future performance, just like potential appraisal. It's a part of potential appraisal. It also evaluates the effect of an unknown or uncontrolled set of experience to gain from a course of training. The interest and choice of the person can also be known from the aptitude test. These tests are the useful tools in the hands of employers who are in search for right persons for the right job. Knowledge. Knowledge is another capacity acquired and possessed by a person through his or her efforts. The knowledge is a fact or condition of knowing something with familiarity or acquaintance gained through experience or association. Knowledge is acquired through learning. It facilitates learning. Knowledge of results leads to incremental attitude for learning. The learner acquires knowledge in the following stages. It may be declarative knowledge, which is factual information and concepts relevant to the task acquired by the trainee or the learner. It is also recognized as knowing what in respect of a task. In this stage of acquiring knowledge, intelligence plays a key role as memory and attention are important in learning and acquiring skills about the task. Knowledge compilation. In this second stage, the performance of task learned through the first stage improves and becomes polished. Procedural knowledge. This is the final stage in which the learner or the trainee not only knows what to do but knows how to do. The performer applies his knowledge in carrying out the task procedures fluently and automatically. For confirming whether the trainee has received the perfect knowledge about the task or not, a feedback is taken. This feedback is known as knowledge of results. Taking feedback is important because learning of the trainee is ascertained through it, otherwise he may lose the motivation to learn. Feedback makes the learning process more interesting. Employee involvement in acquisition of knowledge is a must. Employees should be provided information about overall performance of the firm. The enhancement of knowledge takes place through additional job skills, training and cross-training. In the process of learning or acquiring knowledge, the manager should assume the position of a coach or a facilitator and revolutionary changes should take place. The goal should be to attain organizational effectiveness and quality of work life instead of economic goal of productivity alone. The hierarchy should be flattened to motivate further the employees to gain knowledge. Sometimes knowledge and know-how is also used synonymous. The sum of total of all knowledge and skills acquired for satisfactory job performance is known in 3 dimensions: practical, managerial and skill of motivating people. Values represent basic convictions that a specified mode of conduct or end state of existence is personally or socially preferable to an opposite or converse mode of conduct or end state of existence. So values focus on the judgment about what is right, good or desirable. Values has 2 attributes, content attributes and intensity attributes. Under content attribute, the mode of conduct or end state of existence is important. In intensity attributes, it specifies how important end state of existence is. There are basically 2 types of values according to Professor Rukia: terminal value and instrumental value. Terminal value is the final goal in a desired status. Example, a person's desire to achieve happiness. Instrumental value, it is a means for acquiring a learning value. Example, a person's desire to achieve happiness is the terminal value with the means of being ambitious or independent. So that is the instrumental value. So what makes him happy through what? So through what is the instrumental value. The combination of both values in an individual can create a value system. Values generally influence attitude and behavior. The value systems determine what we as individuals are. It is both enduring and stable. According to Allport and others, there are 6 types of values. Theoretical, gives a stress on the discovery of truth through a critical and rational approach. Economic, it puts more emphasis on usefulness and practicality. Accumulation of wealth is shown more importance. Aesthetic value, it emphasizes the highest value on form and harmony. Social value, interest in the highest value to the love of people. Political value, emphasis on acquisition of power and influence on people. Religious value, interest in the unity of experience and understanding of the cosmos as a whole. The study of values are important because they are the starting point for understanding attitudes, motivation and perceptions. The dominant values in workforce are hard work, conservatism, loyalty to organization, quality of life, non-conformity, seeking autonomy, loyalty to self, success, achievement, ambition, hard work, loyalty to career, flexibility, job satisfaction, leisure time, loyalty to relationship, etc. Values are acquired through experiences with people and institutions. Elders and parents influence values of their children. Values are acquired through schools, religious institutions and society. With our growth, values dominate our life and work. Thus, they play a vital role in shaping our life and affect the work environment too. Culture dominates the value formation. What is good or bad are derived from a culture. Today, values are the backbone of latest management evolution in the world. Therefore, it becomes necessary to understand values. Our efficiency and effectiveness at work is tied with intrinsic human values, both moral and ethical. Self-development takes place through human values which support business values like service, creativity, credibility, excellence, innovation, communication, coordination, direction and control. Interpersonal communication becomes effective through values minimizing conflicts and disputes. Human values built up good reputation and goodwill of the organization. Values enhance job satisfaction as well as improvement in customer satisfaction. Values are the means of perfection and everyone have permanent basic values. It is an integral part of management and work culture. It helps in human resource development. All executives, employees and workers should inculcate values in a manner as said by Esli Clarkson. Every fiber of our personality must glow, radiate and manifest itself with a conduct identical with what we profess to be. Human relations skill. Organizations are composed of people who come from different walks of life. They differ with each other in psychological makeup too. People are human resources constituting the sum total of inherent abilities, knowledge, skills represented by talents and aptitudes. They behave in different manner. A manager has to understand human relations and behavior to extract 10% from the employees to the advantage of the enterprise. Quality of human resources can be modified through education, training and development. Human resources are distinct from physical resources which are passive. Human resources differ in qualities possessed by them. They possess immense skills. According to Sophocles, the wonders of wonders is man who has infinite capacity to think, to develop, to create, to invent, to feel, to love, to give, to kill, to respect and to hate, analyze or destroy. Efficiency of employees can be maximized by creating and maintaining good human relations among them. Human relations can be defined as a process of effective motivation of individuals in a given situation in order to achieve a balance of objectives which will yield greater human satisfaction and help in the accomplishment of company's goals. Human relations in simple words can be referred to as the interaction of people in all walks of life. Human relations are interdisciplinary. It embodies psychology, anthropology, sociology, physiology and political science. Human relations are a part of organizational behavior which is based on certain concepts relating to nature of people and nature of organizations. When we talk about the nature of people, the basics of human behavior are individual differences. People have some common traits. Example, they get excited or they grieve by the loss of their dear or near one. Even though they have much in common, they are different. They differ in attitude, thinking, likes, dislikes, opinion and other qualities. Organizational behavior commences with the individual. Individuals make decisions. Group is effective when individuals act in collaboration. The next basic thing about human behavior is a person is a whole person. Organizations do not employ skills and brains of individual but a whole person. Skill, qualities, attitude, behavior cannot be separated from the person and it comes as a part and parcel of the person. When a person is employed, we are employing the good and bad qualities of the person which influences his working. So the main aim of management is to develop a better employee in terms of growth and fulfillment. Employees are members of many organizations other than the enterprise where they are working. So, if a wholesome person is developed, the enterprise as well as the society is benefited. Caused behavior. Individuals do not act without any cause. So, a significant attribute of the human behavior is that there is a reason behind every action. Every human being works to fulfill some of his needs. Therefore, management should understand that human behavior has a reasonable cause. The manager must understand this fundamental and act rationally. The cause of human behavior is the result of an interaction between a stimulus and person's interpretation of that stimulus. The actions of people have some object in sight. They are goal-oriented. There is some motivation which forces the organization to run smoothly. The next aspect of human behavior is human dignity or the person's value. People are treated differently than other factors of production because they are the better creation of the universe. They are to be treated with respect and dignity. With the involvement of people in organizational behavior, ethical philosophy is involved in every action of the management. The second basic thing to be known in human relations is to understand the nature of organization. The nature of organization comprises of a social system. An organization is basically a social system. Social and psychological law governs the organizations. Status and social roles of people and their behavior get influenced by their group and individual aspirations or drives. Organization consists of both formal and informal groups and which are independent and interdependent and sometimes influenced by each other. The social system thus makes the human behavior complex in organizations. The second aspect about the nature of organizations is there is mutuality of interest. Organizations need people to accomplish their goals and people need organizations to fulfill their personal objectives. Thus, people work in cooperation in meeting with the organization's objectives. There are ways and means to promote effective human relations in human organization. They are developing honesty among people at work, removing misunderstanding and promoting frankness, restoring good relations among and with employees, developing effective three-way communication system, respecting the feelings of others, having a word of appreciation for ideas of others, developing good leadership qualities to bring cohesion in the group and helping in good human relations improvement, accepting one's wrongdoing to avoid criticism by others, praising the subordinates for his good work, respecting the opinion of others, creating a conducive environment where everyone is happy and is willing to work, treating subordinate with respect and dignity, helping employees in their job performance. The knowledge of human behavior helps in understanding people as to why they behave as they do. Responsiveness is yet another human capacity present in employees. Responsiveness means responding readily and positively to a call or command from superior to the subordinate. This is the quality possessed by an employee which enables speedy work. This quality among human assets put them ahead of others. For being responsive, one must possess some other qualities and analytical mind. Positive response means ability to execute the work with perfection and on time. Approaching the problems with logic and sound reasoning is helpful for this positive response. Executives must respond to the opportunities for involving others in decision making. The executives must be good communicators and provide outstanding support to their subordinates. Responsiveness leads to seeking out innovative solutions to challenging problems and giving a chance to establish benchmarks of performance and standards of excellence. An employee with this quality is busy in developing new appropriate systems and procedures to function efficiently. The benefits like early promotions accrue to the employee and he or she remains in the good books of the superiors, which is an added advantage of the quality of responsiveness. These are the people who take initiative in their organizations and accept change easily. Loyalty and commitment. It is one such human capacity which means the state of being loyal to the work and to the organization. A sense of loyalty develops a strong feeling of support or allegiance. A loyal employee shows a firm and constant support or allegiance to the organization and its members. Employee is loyal to the established rules, regulations and procedures and follows them strictly. Every employee must be loyal to his organization. Loyalist supports the organization when it is passing through difficult times. Commitment is yet another human capacity, which means the state or quality of being credited to a cause or policy. It is a pledge or undertaking to remain committed to the cause of the organization. Every organization needs committed people for its progress. The committed workforce establishes a long-term emotional relationship with the organization. They are dedicated people for accomplishment of objectives of the organization. They restrict themselves from taking undue advantage from the organization. They are the hard-working people and receive full faith of their superiors. They enjoy confidence of their higher-ups. Superiors delegate authority to such people and organizations flourish where such committed people work. Transparency. Transparency means the condition of being transparent. It means no concealment of action, command, policy, procedure and work culture of the organization. The employees should be made known by the organization about the rules and regulations, procedure for action in case of any breach committed by the employees. Transparency ensures fairness. There should not be any hidden agenda on the part of the organization. There must be a fair deal which is ensured only when transparency prevails in the organization. It takes out fear from the minds of employees and allows them to work without any worries. Transparency is image building tool for the organization which leads to its speedy growth. Leadership development. Managers have to work with many people having distinct behavioral patterns. Managers have to lead and guide their subordinates at the workplace. Hence, they must possess leadership qualities for effective management of people. A good leader extracts work from the toughest employee. He can take anyone to task in his endeavor to attain organizational objectives. Leadership can be acquired through experience and training. It is a process of influencing the behavior of others in the direction of an objective or a set of objectives and towards a vision of the future. A constructive leadership style which provides vision and direction and furthers cooperation and productive group effort is essential for organizational effectiveness. Some of the experts feel that leadership can be distinguished from management, but leadership and management overlap. According to John Kotter, management involves planning and budgeting, organizing and staffing, controlling and problem solving. In contrast, leadership involves establishing direction, which includes developing a vision and strategy for getting there. If organizations are to be successful in the long term, both effective leadership and effective management are essential. So leadership and management go hand in hand. For effective leadership, a leader should have self-confidence, physical attractiveness, intelligence, drive, alertness and insight in respect of the tasks to be performed and the feeling of the persons performing those tasks. A leader must encourage and support his people and provide information and suggest new procedures. He must be production-centric. That is, he should assign tasks by fixing a deadline and make a review of deficient work. He should also be employee-centric, that is, behaving friendly, easily accessible to the employees, must listen to subordinates and allow them to participate in planning and decision making. Managers should adopt a suitable style depending upon situation and the forces present therein. The choice of appropriate style of leadership depends upon the forces in the manager, subordinates, the situation and the behavioral patterns. Organizations should provide conducive environment for leadership development because empowerment is the consequence of leadership development. Leadership development has a lot of implications for several areas of HRD. Training and development helps to acquire leadership qualities among supervisors. Interacting with other managers requires leadership qualities in planning, developing and managing resources in the organization. In the forthcoming episodes, we will look into the ways in which human capital or human capacity can be enhanced,